Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Half-Life Mods. And I've got a holiday special here for you today. It's the spooky time, the season of the witch, Halloween. I got my costume, I got my bowls of candy and chips, I got my snacks, and of course, I have The Shining on DVD. Now with it being the Day of the Dead, I felt best that we covered a mod that was appropriate for the holiday season. And boy have I found the mod. The mod's called Halloween, released by a modder named Swiss Cheese back in 2002. So without further ado, let's get into the scary. So before I start, I just want to mention that I also got the Accidental Assassin title that I got when I tried to play Red Mesa 2. So I'm starting to think that that might be a problem with my computer and not with those mods in particular. So to the guy that made Red Mesa, I apologize. So the game begins with an intro where you come out of an abandoned house into the standard suburban street on Halloween night. There's kids walking around in costumes and there's decorations all over the houses. So in the last house on the left, we meet our protagonist and their friend, who we're going to call Timmy. We play as a blonde-haired kid dressed up as a red Power Ranger. At least that's what I like to think he is. We first see our character staring at a poster of a woman on his wall. The woman has blue hair and apparently her name's Sheila. So Timmy lets us in on some good foreshadowing before he tells us that we need to go and get weapons from his house for the night ahead. What Timmy has planned for Halloween, I have no fucking idea. So it took me like a fucking lifetime to find Timmy's house. He didn't exactly tell me where it was, and it would have been a lot easier if every house wasn't enterable, and most of them are just vacant with the exception of the horror movies playing on their TVs and the occasional decoration. Seeing the kids in the street dressed up was pretty cool though. So eventually I find Timmy's house where I find a baseball bat, and I also go to his dad's arsenal, which is apparently just a bunch of guns lying on the ground. These guns include, but are not limited to, a fully automatic machine gun, a revolver, and a pile of fucking hand grenades. Christ, Timmy. So now I'm at a loss. Timmy's nowhere to be found, and all I can think to do is to grab candy from the houses, which actually act as armor pots. But that's when I remembered the abandoned shack in the intro. So I find Timmy outside this abandoned house, and he's too scared to go in. So when I entered, I went down to the basement, and down there there's this strange book. It spawns all these reapers that just start slaughtering all the kids. They even dome Timmy. But luckily for us, if it hadn't been for Timmy's malicious intent with the night, we wouldn't have the guns that we can use to fight them off with. But we don't fight them. We run through the streets like a bunch of cowards. And with a mob of reapers right on our tail, we're picked up and sent through a portal into the middle of the woods. So from this point on, the rest of the game is just a series of shooting galleries and puzzles, all with a general Halloween-y vibe. You've got pumpkin men and ghosts in a pumpkin patch. You've got zombies and scarecrows in a cornfield. You've got aliens on a spaceship, vampires in a castle, demons in fucking hell! And the game actually ends in hell, where you fight a giant reaper. One can assume it's the devil or death himself. It took me a few dozen deaths before I remembered the wise words of our old friend Timmy, when hell freezes over. So instead of shooting the reaper, I shot at the lava pipes. And sure enough, hell froze over. And it also opened up a portal. Yippee! So in a rather delightful ending, you're transported to an exotic beach. Standing in front of you is Sheila, the blue-haired woman, the girl of your dreams. And it's here that you're free to enjoy the fruits of your labors as long as you want, at least until you turn off Half-Life. So Halloween was a good mod, but I still have my problems with it. My bones to pick, if you will. So first, the lack of ammo and health leaves you with no other choice but to optimize your weapons for their respective enemies. For example, you use the crossbow on the pumpkin men, use the pistols on the ghosts, shotguns on the zombies, and generally it doesn't really give a lot of room for being creative with the weapons. Second, the sound design was weird. I mean, the sound of the movies playing on the TVs and the sounds of the ghosts were alright, but all the kids talk like Red Mesa employees. The zombies were soldier sounds. The witches were just... And the strangest one of all, the crossbow was just an audio sample of Eric Cartman from South Park. And finally, the last battle of the game against the giant reaper has this common glitch where the fall damage as you go into the depths of hell ends up killing you. So I was left with no choice but to enable cheats and go into God mode just so I could land and fight this guy. Now despite these problems, like I said, I think Halloween is a really good mod. I like the Halloween decorations, the set pieces, the puzzles, and of course the retextured health kits. I mean, those little candy bags are just so cute. So it's got almost every Halloween-themed monster you can think of. It's got a half-decent story, and I noticed there's a few in the Half-Life community who have a nostalgia for this mod. It's an hour-long mod that's just perfect for the season, and if you're looking for a little bit more of that Halloween embrace, then you should definitely give this mod a try. And that's why I'm giving Halloween 7 Kleiners out of 10. So thanks for watching another episode of Half-Life Mods. So I'll tell you the truth here, I was supposed to cover Afraid of Monsters for this episode. But it is a surprisingly hard mod, and I just couldn't cheat to get through it. So I'm kind of sorry you had to settle for less, but honestly, I had a lot of fun playing this mod, and to be honest, I'm actually having a pretty good time right now, too. So anyways, I'll let you get going so you can get dressed up and get some of that candy. Have a good night.